One of the things that I love best about this show is the ability to meet multiple people from all over the world. But my neighbor is Tammy Cohen, and she's here with us now. How are you?
Hey, Donna, how are you? Thank you so much for having me here today.
You're welcome. So you're kind of a Manhattanite, but also a South Shore Long Island girl. Tell us
Yes.
about your early beginnings.
Well, I was born in Manhattan, but my parents, they moved out when I was a young girl, and we moved to the South Shore of Long Island, where I grew up, and I went to high school, and I went to, I was very involved with everything around. And of course, I went off to college, and when I got back, I moved into the city. So I came back into the city, and I've been here, I don't want to, since 1985, I've been living in the city. It's a while, but I was lucky. I raised my three kids, my three sons there, and that's where I've been since. But you know what? I'm a Long Island girl at heart.
So it's good to be back because that's where we're recording today.
It's so good. I love the
good.
Long Island Railroad.
You do?
Really, I do.
Maybe one of few, I don't know. Maybe you could be the spokesperson for them.
Hey, you never know.
My Three Sons, do you ever sing that song? Remember that old TV show?
Yes.
Da-da-da-da,
Doug McMurray.
da-da-da-da. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually
And the
had a vision
Livingstons.
about like my three sons when I was getting involved with the book and everything, and it's just so funny. It was one of the things I thought about with those, the arms were always going this way.
Yeah. The little
And,
shoes going do.
And it was such a great show, and it came to my mind. It's so funny that you said that. That's crazy.
I'm slightly intuitive. Oh, I mean, I don't know how it works, but
No,
every
it's
once in
crazy.
a while I get in that flow. Okay, so there you were inspired by that. You have these wonderful children. You've worked with a lot of corporate executives. Tell us about a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about the book.
Well, I was blessed, after I had gotten my MBA, I was out and about, and I always worked in different industries, actually. I like to move around and see what was interesting. And I was in a lot of corporate situations and also with small businesses, like just across the board. So over time, and because I've been in and out and about and met a lot of people over the years, I've worked with corporate executives who are looking to develop not just their business brand, but their personal brand. The messaging side is what I'm most in tune with. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't do logos and do all of that stuff. I'm not that kind of a branding person, but I believe the message is what's important. Your mission, your core values, the foundation of who you are. So that's where I always lean towards. And people are really developing as much their personal brand because they are the business. It's their passion that is behind that product. So it's about them as much. So I think it's really important to incorporate both.
I look at personal branding a lot like throwing yourself a party because you're going to get to pick out the colors that you like, you're going to have the friends around you that you want, and it's about talking about things that aren't necessarily business. It's like who you are as a person, and then you bring all that talent to that brand.
Very true, very true.
Something fun. Now you do something fun too with you have a podcast, you have your own show.
Yes, I actually have, I founded a women's business network called Women Beyond the Table. Not that long ago, in 2021, we had our first call January 2021, and it's grown. It's a global group, and we're, very much a very supportive community of women who are really non-judgmental, non-competitive. They're just there as a safe space, but also they really give great advice, and we exchange services, which is really important because you want to get services from somebody you trust and like and know. So that's really important. And one of the brand extensions from Women Beyond the Table was the Beyond the Table podcast. We have the All Things Beyond the Table newsletter. So it's been growing, and the podcast is just basically us, me and a co-host just talking to women in our group and women who are just achieving great things, regular women who face all kinds of challenges. You don't even know what a person's life is like until you actually sit down and talk to them. Everybody kind of comes around with a mask and they're like, hey, and everything's great, I'm working really hard, but you don't know what the struggle has been. And they share that so that whoever's listening can say, well, she did it. I can do it. I can move forward. I can start my side hustle. I can do this. And that's the point. It's like I don't want to overuse the word empowerment because everybody's about it, but it's like knowing that you can do it because she did it. And that's the beauty of it. And we try to work mostly and interview our women because they all have great stories.
I find that it's very nice that it's from NYC because New York is kind of like dog eat dog and really competitive. I love the fact that you have this collaborative effort. that you guys have kind of blossomed and grown. I don't know if it becomes something that we're aware of as we age, like, like when you're 20, you're going through a certain chapter, when you're 30, then by the time you get like 36-ish, I don't know, you kind of like, it's like fine wine. You just kind of keep getting better and better. And I think it allows you to stand next to someone else and not compete with them, but kind of like that old Rainbow Fish book comes to mind. Like there's like, you kind of share with one another and you want someone's success to grow.
Yeah, you absolutely hit it on the head. We all go through, stages of development. And listen, I didn't grow up in the like and a following and all this stuff. Like, you start realizing what matters, what's important. You have kids, or you go through life, okay? And you realize at the end of the day, it's not how many books you sell or how much of this you do or what you do and how important you are. It's your relationships, right? It's the people who you can go to and talk with, and they can help you. Yes, and they care about you. And you start saying, like, I want to be that person. It's not like it's a giving back, but it's like, I want to support other people. I want to help them. You're here to serve. Your mission is not here to just be somebody who takes,
Right.
what's me. And a lot of that has come about too with people. You're here to serve. You're here to make things better. That's your role as a soul, and connect with people. And that's why I think women, as we age, we realize that we have to help each other, because you know what? There is inequality. There is a lot of things going on, and it only starts with each person. Every movement starts with a person, a regular person, and I think that's where we're at, where we realize what's important and what's fluff. There's a lot of fluff.
Yeah, no more fluff. We don't need any more fluff. Talking about something that's not fluffy, this is so exciting. Okay, so it says, have you ever struggled to communicate with your children? And I told you at our dinner table, we used to do 3 good things about our day. I still do that now in a phone conversation with them. When I talk to them, I'm like, oh, okay, so tell me what's going on. Tell me, what happened today? What did you learn? Blah, 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 blah. Because it's very difficult sometimes to get them to communicate with you. So let's talk about this book, Text Messages to My Sons. What was the cause of this?
Well, it's really interesting because I never set out to write a book. It was never even on my mind or anything like that. So over the pandemic, we were all shut down. So I started really thinking about my life, who I was. I wasn't very happy with who I was. I wasn't feeling very good about things in my head. I had, the origin story of things we carry around, our baggage. I wasn't happy. And I said, you know what, I have to be accountable and I have to go figure this out. And that journey of figuring things out and looking at my belief system and going through masterminds and courses and reading like tons of books and just like going all in because we were shut down. You had time to think. During the pandemic, as challenging as it was, we had a lot of time to think. And I said to myself, okay, I want to be a better person. And you know what? At the same time, I said, I want to change the paradigm of the conversation I have with my kids. We have to reach them where they're at.
Yeah.
Kids really aren't sitting around having in-person conversations. As a matter of fact, nobody is. I own a restaurant, and I'm amazed at how many people sit at a table with a phone and they're looking at their phone. They're not looking at each other. They're not talking. So I said, I'm going to reach my sons where they're at. I can send a message every day. And the message is, I love you. You're extraordinary. Here's some inspiration. I want to share something. I want to share something I learned. I want to let you know that I'm accountable, that I've made mistakes. I want to let you know who I am too. And I don't expect anything in return. That's the whole thing. I never expected them to say, Mommy, I love you, or you're this, or send me, rainbows and unicorns. No, they're guys. They're not doing that. But I know they're reading those messages. And I know that it makes them bulletproof because they told me. They said, knowing that there's somebody who loves you, who takes the time to say every day, you're amazing, I love you, you're worthy, you're a very worthy person, you're a good person, and that I'm a human being to them, okay? It makes them bulletproof. No matter how bad their day is going, they know that they have somebody in their corner. And I said, you know what, this is my mission. I found my mission. My mission is that I want everybody, starting as soon as they can, to take messages out of this book has hundreds of messages that I've read. They're all very inspirational. I quote a lot of people in there. It's a lot of visionaries that I share their thoughts and their work because it's interesting. And just start, just send love. It could be to your spouse. It could be to anybody you want it to be, anybody you care about, a friend who's having a bad day. It doesn't have to just be with your children. But I do it with my sons because I know that when I go to the next life, what are they going to remember? They're going to remember that they missed the message. They're going to look at their messages. They're going to think about those things that matter. And I want them to know that they count. And I want to change what's going on right now, because what's happening now is the device itself, a phone, is neither good nor bad. It's a device. That's why it's called connecting deeply in a world of devices. Everybody's on a device, right? It's neither good nor bad. It's the content. And we're dealing with algorithms that are sucking the life out of all of us 24/7, over-engagement. Their job is to engage us. We're seeing a lot of hate and a lot of violence and a lot of indoctrination and misinformation. And I'm like, if we just take the time to send one message of light and love, we could really make a difference in somebody's life, because everything else that's coming in is not about that. And that's the goal.
I like how the chapters are laid out as well. You have a leadership chapter. You have just everything that somebody might need. It's a good starter for someone, like with the mindset and things like that. So, Tammy, thank you very much for joining us. I'm happy to know you. And I also like this too, where you have like little like pages in the book where it's almost like a workbook. It's more of a workbook than something that you read. It's like, this is the opportunity for you. You get to play along. And there is no right or wrong. So, Tammy, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
If this is a book that you think that you would like to get, all you have to do is Google and you'll find out where you can order yours. Thanks for watching.